Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Nuggets News. We've got our friend Trader Cobb back, and the charts are pretty interesting at the moment. I'll just bring them up quickly. I'm sure everyone's aware it's another big red day, but if we actually head over to CoinMarketCap, we can see that, yeah, everything's red, altcoins are going down, but if we actually price them in Bitcoin and compare it to Bitcoin, they're all up. And this is the first time we've really seen this where alts haven't bled out or even bled out harder than Bitcoin. So maybe promising signs that when the market does find its bottom and turn around, or Bitcoin chops sideways, that altcoins are actually going to outperform to the upside.
Yeah, I'm seeing some. I mean, look, I'm sure you'll probably get the same question as me at the moment, mate, which is when will alt season start? Look, it may never start. I'm sure there will be some form of alt season at some point, whether it be the lower obscure or relatively hidden tokens or the higher up ones. I think we will see the move again. And we got, was it 60, nearly 63% Bitcoin dominance
Yeah, yeah.
before we come back off. So I've been keeping that in the back of my mind. What am I looking out for? And as Bitcoin comes back, that's typically been when we have seen the alts start to move a little bit more bullishly. The interesting thing is that at the moment against the USD, they're also falling. They're just not falling as fast.
Yeah.
So there's two things I do. One is managing a portfolio of tokens and assets that I hold, right? The other is trading. So and with some recent good trades, and I'm sure you and your members are aware as well, the last few weeks have been just brilliant.
Yeah.
A lot of Bitcoin to be made there. And I've reshuffled yesterday, started reshuffling yesterday, the profits of the Bitcoins that I got into my portfolio as well to make sure it's relatively, safely, I guess, diversified, which is a weird word in this market because everything kind of moves together.
Yeah.
One of the things I'm noticing though, let me just bring up a chart. Hang on. If I hit that button there. No.
While you find it, I'll just show this dominance chart quickly because that sums up everything that we're talking about. The fact that Bitcoin dominance is really falling. So, yeah.
I got it. I hit to press the share screen button first.
Yeah.
And then it works for me. I haven't done this for a long time with you, mate. There we go.
There we go. Cool.
All right, let me throw this up, make it nice and full screen. So I've got a list here, and look, there's a lot more out there, but every morning I go through and I do my top. I'll show you that there's all the margin pairs that I'll scan through during the day. There's also the top 150 Bitcoin pairings, and I'll also look at stable coins as well, depending on which day. Now, out of these top 150, I started to notice a bit of a trend. We'll start with IOST. I started to notice that, and these are all against Bitcoin, as you can see here. So it's I'm just trying to look at when do I top up the alts that I hold. I'm not suggesting that I hold all of these, but it's just again what I'm looking out for. I'm looking to see where I would support. IOST, look, support back here, support here, and holding. Now on this low to this low, we are divergent. If we look at the weekly chart as well, what's that going to show us? Well, we've gone straight up from here. We've come straight back down. And that's a big, big, big move, right? That's a big, big, big move. Bullish candle on the weekly coming off of that level. And it's starting to look like maybe that support will hold. So, it's not just on IOST. And this is what it's not just one chart I like to look at. I like to get a view of across the market. I have another one that's Horby token or Hoiby or however you wish to say it. Where's that? There it is down here. If we have a look at where we came back down and tested, now it's not an exactly perfect level, and it's obviously bounced very hard since it's tapped that level. What it's done for me is maybe realize, okay, well, I'm happy to trade these midterm timeframes, and look at how it's been pulling back into that cradle zone. Look at that, beautiful. I mean, that's a doozy of a pullback. Another nice little pullback here with maybe a bit of a level there. I'm not sure if that was tradable. I didn't trade that, but it's been pulling back and working quite nicely into those levels. So again, it might be that you don't get the fill or you don't get the trade in the lower timeframes, and you can still wait for your trading entry. But we're coming off a strong support. I'm seeing it more and more and more across the board. Ethereum, very notable, and I did buy. As I said, I was reshuffling my portfolio. I have bought more Ethereum as we came down. I didn't buy it down here. I actually waited for, where am I? This level running through here as it broke through there. And again, trending really nicely on this 4 hour once again moving. So, EOS is the same. Back down at support. Look at this. Okay, strong support running through here. We are seeing a bit of a resurgence. Just got to be aware of that cradle zone. And finally, another one as an example is bat down here as well. Support, support, support. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is, what do we look for? What do we look for when we're trying to work out, is alt season coming? I look for Bitcoin pulling back and maybe some form of long-term support. That's the sort of stuff I look for. Then I go to lower timeframes.
Yeah, basically, a lot of those charts priced in Bitcoin gave back everything, where a lot of people were hoping and looking for different levels to hold, but they've retraced the whole move, a lot of them. So it is exciting to see that maybe turning around. And for me, that Ethereum Bitcoin pair has been the leader. And again, it's made that bottom where it's probably hit 4 or 5 times now throughout history. So these are probably the first signs that we're seeing that alts might outperform. I guess in my mind, and it's going to be interesting the next 24 hours to see if everything goes up, or if it is really selective with the larger cap coins, the best projects. Maybe the smaller ones go up 2 or 3%, but if the good ones are going up 10 or 15%, you're going to get a real feel for who wins this run, I think.
Yeah, it's a really good way of looking at it too, mate. Like this is the first chance we've had to look through the new bull market's window when it comes to regarding alts. I mean, if you think about it throughout the year 2019, Binance token BNB was the top performer. Litecoin was also performing really well. Yeah. EOS was performing fantastically well also, whilst Bitcoin was floundering. Now we've seen, obviously, when Bitcoin does get moving, because that's typically where the new money comes into. Bitcoin has taken off. We've seen the dominance come back. I don't mind Bitcoin taking off, because that is, you're not going to see, a headline for Binance breaks $40. You're going to see a headline for, Bitcoin breaks $10,000. It's a headline grabber. It's a showstopper, and it grabs attention from the media. So I'm really, really happy to see that. But it's just about, because you got to remember that when it comes to trading now, it's very different to 2017. Bitfinex has got some very good volume, as does BitMEX. I tend to trade BitMEX more for the bigger market cap tokens. You've got Bitcoin against the dollar, Ethereum against the dollar, and the other ones are fairly against Bitcoin. So it can be a bit tricky on that regard. So Bitfinex has more dollar listed options.
Yeah.
So therefore, I kind of work across both of them. But with regards to what we're seeing at the moment, we are seeing dollar values decrease across most of them. We've got good volume there, though. Like in 2017, it was frustrating as all hell. I'll flick my screen back up real quickly just to show again. Like, look this is the list I scan each day. My margin pairs list. Look at all this. We got, I don't know, 20 odd dollar crosses. And then we've got all these Bitcoin crosses. Now, admittedly, they don't all have good volume. And a prime example of that for me, which is a little bit of a sad story, was I went to short EOS way back up here on a little breakout trade, right? I raised the order, but my order was about 100 times bigger than anything that was on the order books. And look, I'm not being, Billy Big Balls trying to pretend that I've got, trading massive volumes. It wasn't it wasn't a massive trade. It was so thin. Now I should have gone to Bitfinex because I tried to trade it on BitMEX. Mistake, I stuffed up. But it moved. I mean, look at this move. This is equally getting long Bitcoin, because every single time this falls, I mean, look at the stop. That's like a 40 to 1. And it pulled back in once, pulled back in twice, and gave plenty of entry. So again, you don't just need to be focusing on Bitcoin itself. There's plenty of other options out there. And the Ethereum pairs are still a little bit thin for my liking, trading on margin. I prefer to do dollar, and I prefer to be on Bitcoin as well.
Yeah, another question that I get a lot is, should you rotate? I think too many people have all their portfolio in altcoins and no Bitcoin, and it's been pretty hard work watching Bitcoin run from 3 to 14,000, and then they're thinking about rotating into Bitcoin at the top when it's already finished and it's too late. So people tend to do the wrong thing at the wrong time. That's why I guess everyone should learn a little bit about trading, even if you're not going to trade, because people make the wrong decision. And right now people are wondering whether they should rotate into alts. And it's pretty hard to time these cycles perfectly. Alts might run for a week, they might run for a month. And it's, you don't want to have to try and time that. It's best for most people to have that portfolio for their long-term growth of their good coins, and then have a section or learn to trade or whatnot. But don't try and time the market, because not everyone can win.
Well, that's right. I mean, if it comes to investing, invest, but having a trading understanding or a market understanding by reading charts is going to help you to know when a good time to get in is, or a good area. And also, more importantly, and this is the big one, when to get out. You don't have to scale out. You don't have to take 100% on the way up, but take some profits. Don't let I know a lot of people in 2017 didn't do that, and we saw millionaires become not millionaires very very quickly, and they could have at least scale out half, and you're sitting on $500,000. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
it's about timing your cycles, and the only way really to be able to do that is to really know what you're looking out for in terms of when things go nuts. Because hodling, look, Bitcoin, it works because it does tend to roll out if you wait long enough. But I'm really afraid for a lot of people that got into these really kind of smaller, obscure alts. I don't know if a lot of those are going to. I'll be honest. I don't think a lot of them will come back. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope everyone does well. But reality is, I think that they're going to. A lot of these projects are going to fade away into the background. So having a balanced portfolio and always making sure you got some Bitcoin is probably not a bad idea.
Yeah, I'm actually making a video about a few altcoins that were around very early on, years and years ago, and they've only ever sort of got back to their US dollar or Bitcoin value at the peak. And while everything else was doing 10 or 100x, you're going to be pretty disappointed if you maybe just get back to break even against Bitcoin or something like that. So, yeah.
Absolutely. No, couldn't. Where do you think we're pulling back to, by the way?
I mean, I think everyone wants to buy between 8 and 9,000. That's where kind of everyone's talking about. I think we're going to get a fair bit of volatility and a lot of information when America opens. We just saw the European trading open and have another leg down. So we're going to see how interested people are, because 9.8 was kind of that first level that people were talking about. So we've given back a lot of that move. And if you were looking at 14 and thought you'd missed out, back to touch under 10 now is a 30% pullback, and back to that 8 or 9 is probably that 40% pullback. And that's what we've seen in previous markets. Bitcoin, if it's in a bull market, doesn't tend to give back more than 30 or 40%. So I don't know. What do you think? I think it'd be too easy, and everyone wants to buy at 6 or 7.
Oh, look, I mean, I try not to think at all. I'll just quickly show you. I mean, based on what you just said is sort of how I base my thesis or theories as well, I suppose. I mean, if I look at Bitcoin, bring it to the weekly, because I love the higher timeframes like this. And look at the history. I use a measuring tool. Look at this one. Pull back 2016 at the end of 17, 36%. We go to the next one. We're looking at 40-odd%, I think. Sorry, 30, call it 34. Then we see some larger pullbacks. Look at the moves that follow these pullbacks. So we're talking 40% there, another 40% here. So, we do see it pull back. Now, where we're at now after today's squirt to the downside, have a look. I think we must be sitting close to 30. Yeah, nearly 30. If we're going to do 40%, we're going to get ourselves down to 81, something around that area. Now, that also coincides beautifully with that weekly cradle zone. And look, you'll note throughout the 2017 run, if you wanted to know when to buy and when to sell, it just simple stuff like using your exchange, not trading wise. You sell it when it gets overextended and you start to see some signs, and we show what those signs are. You buy it when it gets back in. It's a pretty simple cycle to follow when you're using the moving averages and you know what you're looking for. But the one thing I think might just hold us, I'll get rid of these levels from prior trades, is potentially in and around this 88, 89, 9,000 region, just simply because that was old annual highs, 2019. There's a little wee bit of resistance in there. And if I look at the 2-day, it kind of gets us in there quite nicely as well, back into that range, 2, 3 and above. So look, time will tell. I certainly do not have a magic wand, but for the time being, my magic wand is suggesting that I just look for these little pullbacks like we're seeing here. We're getting opportunities. I'm happy to trade the lower time frames as well, because that's fine. You just got to have the high liquidity trade.
Yeah, we're going to learn how hungry the bull market is for buying at lower prices pretty soon, I think, which is always exciting, and we love volatility. Traders love volatility, so that's definitely back in a big way.
Oh yeah, there is no doubt about that. The market is back, baby.
And just to finish off, mate, you've got your weekend sessions, the courses coming up.
Oh yes, yes, it's exhausting. I'll tell you that much. Yeah, we've decided to. For a long time, we've been being asked if we're going to take it on the road and do classroom events. Now, we do the online memberships for life, simply because it means you can come back and repeat, and you really don't miss anything that way. But we also realize that people do like to learn in an environment where they can meet other people that are like-minded, and they can trade with them and create their own groups. And I thought I would be a good excuse to run around the country meeting people and going fishing. So we're doing that. We've got dates in Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Adelaide, Hobart, and somewhere else. Anyway, we're going around the country. Just go to tradercobb.com, live events. And look, you've just got to fill out the registration process there, because the reason the registration process is there is so that we can sort of know to go and book the event space, because that's not cheap either. Look, we've done it as cheap as we possibly can. If you look at what we're offering, you get a free month, or you get a month, not free month, but you get a month in our community where you get to chat with like-minded people, 6-day week videos from myself and my team. Come to the 2 days. You also get access to all the archives and whatnot. It's really set up so that people can ask me questions, meet the apprentices, learn to trade with other people around them. And for Nuggets News members only, if you decide that you would like to come along to any of those events, I would say, first of all, book relatively soon, because we're pretty stoked with how quick it's filling up. The market's kind of certainly helped that. Then just use Nugget, CAPS, Nugget, and you can have 10% off there as well. So if you've done the courses before, please let us know, because anyone who has gone through all the courses, like a bronze or higher, you don't pay what's on there. So register, see the pricing, and away you go.
Cool.
Use Nugget.
Thanks for the discount, and I guess we'll talk again soon, Trader Cobb. Happy trading.
Thank you very much, mate. Back to BitMEX we go, huh?
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, guys.